Hello and welcome to another episode of Between Two Pints. I'm your host, Rob, and today with me is Dave Chick.
Hey,
actually, we're over there. That's okay. Normally we'll talk like this, okay. But Dave here is like an amazing. Like, how many shorts do you have in this horror festival?
4 apparently. I was just like scrolling through it and like 1, 2. Holy shit!
Yeah, and now you did sound design or music for those?
I did sound design on all 4, and 2 I also did composing.
Nice. And we will get back to that later, but you were kind enough to bring beer, and you have in fact already shown that you need to be in charge of picking beer forever. So let's see what we got here. Here, I'll cut to my close-up. I can Vanna White that. This is the one I think I may have. I hit the mic. It is the Tall Tale Sasquatch Stout. It's coffee, chocolate, and mystery.
You know, I think the girl who sold me that, she said that just won an award.
Even this the title, Coffee Chocolate.
There you go.
And it's by Old Yale Brewing Company.
Yeah.
All right. So what are you eyeballing there?
I always like to go with the weird. What's this one? Juggernaut. Okay, I'll go with the weird one. Yeah, Catherine. When we go to restaurants and there's a beer out there, I was like, she'll like go down the list and you're going to pick this one. I know it.
Here, let's you do the Vanna if you want to hold it up on your left side there. Yeah, and then what is it called?
It is the Container Brewing Juggernaut Nitro Imperial Stout.
Ooh, a nitro.
I am looking forward to this.
All right, and then the other ones we've got, which these all actually look like incredible choices, is we've got the Cannery Brewing Darkling Oatmeal Stout. Ooh, I love oatmeal stouts, and the Affogato Imperial Dessert Stout.
Yeah, when you said you were a stout lover, I was like, oh, after my own heart.
All right, well, let's pour some beer, and I'll babble to cover the pouring.
Okay.
So, Dave, for those of you who maybe don't know, Dave is a bit of a legend in the Vancouver scene. You've been doing music and sound design and the indie scenes and professional world for quite a while. Everybody speaks incredibly highly of you.
Oh my gosh, thank you.
You were also a nerd secretly. I know that you were playing some Dungeons and Dragons with David there, one of our previous guests.
Yes. Yeah, I am not afraid to say I'm a nerd at all. It's something my kids are like, embarrassing my kids with my nerdery is one of my favorite things to do. So yeah.
That's actually funny. One of my friends has like 3 daughters who are teenagers, and we were playing D&D together. And then he'd come home and all his daughters in like unison would be like, "How was Dungeons and Dragons, Daddy? Did you win? Did you kill the dragon?"
Yeah, that's kind of it. Like, although coming back from David's place, it was basically almost like an education for my wife. So how did you do that? What did you do? Why did you do that? Like, how long is it going to take? And it's like, oh wow, it's like just a download of stuff.
All right, well, cheers.
Yes,
thank you for joining me.
Oh, my pleasure. Thank you for having me on.
It's okay. I plan to pick your brain about composition and sound design.
Nice.
That is lovely.
I'm going to have to go back and buy some more.
Where'd you get these? Was it from the place nearby?
Jack's, yeah. That was the thing. I was just like, if you don't know, Rob is like a stumble way away from Jack's down the street, which is a fantastic store to buy any craft stuff that you want, hard to find stuff. It was amazing. I
don't go in there like to browse ever. I go in with a mission.
You have a mission
because otherwise it can get expensive.
Well, you know what? They used to have this great Belgian beer. You used to only get it at Beercraft. Mm-hmm. Which is now closed down. It was called Grimbergen. It's a dual. And then when they first released the bottled version of it, and I saw it in Jack's, I was like, I almost screamed like a little girl. I was like so happy. And I probably just, funded their whole supply chain here because it was the best beer, but now you can't find it anywhere.
That's a shame. Maybe we need to uncover the recipe because I do brew beer and I need to get back into it because some friends of mine are planning. We're going to shoot some like indie film, no budget, and people love getting paid with beer.
Yes. I can attest to that.
So can you tell us a little about the 4 of the 4 shorts? I know that parents lie and they say they never have favorite children, but which one was the most fun for you to work on?
Oh, so let's see. I've got the neighborhood at the end of the street. That's Shane and John were directing and producing that. John Warner. What else do I have? Oh God, I can't believe I'm blanking out on this. Ochi Squatcho was one that it came out in 2017, I believe. Jules Kostachin is this director I've been working with for like 10 years or so. There's Topher's Don't Tell Your Mom.
Oh man, that was really enjoyable. Actually, I'm a big fan of Jesse Inokala. He's an old friend, and it's so every time I see him on screen, it's just like such a dream come
I know, and the chemistry was just the among the cast was just so cool.
I love the whole like. So are we selling drugs? He's, no, man. Blood, which I guess is like drugs for vampires, but
yeah. And then what's the last one? Family Descent. Brody Scalise. I worked with him on Itsy Bitsy Spider for the Crazy Eights back in. It wasn't during the pandemic. When was it? I can't believe I've been on so many Crazy Eights.
Okay.
So yeah, those are the 4. And I did sound design on 4 of them and also did composing on 2 of them. So I've got 6 credits in the festival.
So you were telling me before, and I actually totally agree with this, as a person who does like cinematography, directing, camera editing, like a lot of people ask me to edit, which is like, okay, I don't love editing. It's like hard work and it's technical and it's not, it's like, usually it's like, oh, I did it. Not, oh, it's beautiful. But you were telling me composing is a little more enjoyable for you. And I can see that because that's like actually being a musician, not a technician. Like what I have no idea how someone would do that. Like even right now, and this is the whole, like, why I got you out here. I'm working on a short film and it's like, I don't even know like how to pick music half the time. Like usually I'll just sit on a stock audio site and just like listen. But like, how do they give you a temp track and then you compose from that? Or like, can you just illuminate me?
Yeah, sure. It really depends on the director. Some directors, they know what they want and they've already picked it out. The soundtrack's been going on in their head. So they put temp tracks, might have been the editor that just placed that stuff in there. So yeah, I'll get a temp track most of the time, but there's rare opportunities where the director is like, I have no freaking idea what I want. Go for it. That's almost the worst possible kind of thing because you've got, composing is one of the worst things about composing is that first start where you blank page.
Right.
You're staring at, you've watched the film and you're like, where do I go from here?
Yes.
Where do I start?
That's exactly how I feel.
I know, right? So it's if you've got a temp track or the director has at least enunciated what genre or direction they want to go in, that sort of at least puts some guidelines around things or gateposts around where you're supposed to go or where you're supposed to at least stay in. So usually I'll rely on the temp track and then any other supplementary stuff the director might throw at me. Like they say, I like this. That might have been cool if we had this kind of thing. And then you go from there. And then, the whole process is pretty, it's pretty standard kind of process in terms of you watch the film, you spot the film with the director, you figure out this is where music starts, this is where it ends, this is what it's supposed to do. And usually what I try to ask from a director is, what do you want the audience to feel? Like if you try to, pigeonhole somebody who's not musical to describe things musically, you're not going to get anywhere. So my job as a composer is to just come in there and say, what do you want the audience to feel? I'll figure out how to make the music achieve that.
I'm really glad I'm recording this because I feel like I should be taking notes. Because that's really good. I like that. Because for me, it's a lot of that where I'll be like, okay, I'll go back to it. And even it's actually the same with color correction.
Right.
Where, they'll I got a friend to color my thing and he's like, can you just send me like screen grabs from some films that maybe line up with this or that are like, that you would kind of want it to look like, or like, what is what do you want people to feel like? Is this someone are they unhappy that someone has just died or is it a comedic moment? And,
right. Yeah. No, that color correcting is like a black art to me too.
Oh, really?
It's one of those things where I've seen the mismatched, final cut. And then when it comes back to me for the final check, I'm like, holy crap, what the hell did they do? That's amazing. Like, blows my mind.
I find it funny because I'm not saying I'm good. I'm not saying I'm a good color correction guy, but like I do some, but it is even just seeing somebody else go and do it and then come back is just like, I mean, I know kind of the process, but also, God damn, it's so cool. Like,
yeah, no, I think that's the thing. That's the thing when I started out, being a composer, sound designer, you're at the end of the process, and going back further upstream to figure out, okay, what does an editor do? What does a color correct do? What does what does a DIT do? What does a gaffer do? What you keep going back in the process, and you figure out, wow, this is truly a collaborative art form, and nobody knows. Very few people will be able to do it all themselves. And I don't know if you'd want that, would you?
I mean, as we were saying before with my IMDb, I've done many of those roles.
Yes.
But I'm not, the thing is, it's like, I'm not good at a lot of them. And I think it's actually good. I think a lot of people would benefit more from doing more of those because then you really appreciate, like even just asking an editor, like, hey, can you redo this scene? It's like, bro, do you know how much work that is? And then you didn't give them any guidance. Like even you saying the like signposts, like, I've had that where I've edited it for somebody. I spent like 8 hours doing it and they come back, oh, well, can you do this, this, and this? Like, bro, that would have been really good at the beginning of this.
I know, right? Yeah, I used to slag all the on-set sound folks. You get the sound back and you're like, what the hell? Why weren't they listening? I did get an opportunity with Jules. She insisted that I do location sound. I was like, technically, I know how to do it. But so I called up Alex Shamku and a couple other.
Oh, man, that guy.
Oh, my God, yeah. Anytime the director says I had Alex on, it's like, okay, we're good.
Oh yeah, no. Even like I did a short film and for shits and giggles, and it's just like, wow, I don't know how to do sound. This is all labeled, and like my friend was looking at it, he's like, God damn, dude, who is this guy?
Yeah, no. So I talked to him, and I basically stumbled my way through the location sound, and after that film, it was like 4-day shoot, short film. After that, much better appreciation. I have the utmost respect for location sound and all the crap that they have to go through.
Having done sound myself on like my old indie stuff, it's wild when I like get to a set where it's we're just like indie friends and telling the sound guy like, dude, you can tell us to cut,
right? You
can tell us. He's like, what? It's like, no, dude, you're the most important part of this equation.
Your weight around.
Yeah, like if there is a plane and it is too bad, like we don't want to fix that in post. Just tell us to cut. Like,
yeah.
And watching the expression on some sound guys' faces, like it's like sacrilege.
Oh, I know. No, that's the thing. Alex, I've seen him work on set and stuff. He does that. He'll throw his weight around and tell people what to do and how to not do things or not stand places and stuff. Yeah, I appreciate that for sure.
So composition, I still have no idea how to do that. Like, do you like? I guess it's different for everybody. But like, do you wheedle something out on a guitar? Do you hum it? Are you a piano player? Like, this is completely a dark art to me.
Yeah, I started out on piano. That's usually where I sketch things out because that was my main instrument when I grew up. I did classical piano, and that's where I feel comfortable. So I'll pull up the piano first and just either it'll be just like playing around with chords and playing around with textures. And like, you'll start off with major and minor chords, or you'll start to expand on that, get more dissonant, less consonant in terms of, what the key is kind of stuff. So it really depends on the film. And you're just trying to play around with, does this kind of fit? Does this sound right? Does this whatever kind of thing? And then the next thing is really trying to figure out for each scene, once you've spotted the film, my first step is to try to figure out what the tempo of the scene is. And that's usually just watching the scene and just sort of getting sort of like a mental metronome going of like, okay, this is the right feel. And that's where your click starts happening.
Right. Like if it's a slow reveal, it'll have a slow BPM, I guess.
Yeah. And then, there's all the hit points where something might change, or you got like these little spots where the tempo might speed up or slow down or what have you. But it's one of those things where, okay, I want to hit the scene cut, or I want to hit this word, or I want to hit this action, those kinds of things. You just place these markers in, and then you start playing around with the tempo again to try to figure out where you're going to hit things. And then when you get to the composing part of things, you're just trying to is almost putting the whole scene back in a loop. And like, I just try to improvise over things like, okay, that's not hitting. I have to do this a little bit more when I get to there. It's just until you get to the point where I've layered things down on the piano sketch of what it should sort of sound like. And then I flesh it out to other instruments after that, sort of figure out.
I guess I learned guitar when I was a teenager, and seeing how versatile piano is now with MIDI, I have to admit I regret not learning piano, because it seems like you could just do, to within reason, any instrument.
Yeah, but the irony there is the piano can't do guitar. You can't do it convincingly. And that's one of the things that about 15 years ago, I had to teach myself how to play guitar, and I bought a few guitars now, and like I hack at it. Like, so if I do have to play down a guitar part, it takes me like 20, 30 takes to get it right. But you just cannot you can fake anything on piano, like you said, but it's like guitar, it's not convincing at all. Not convincing at all. So yeah, it's funny. Yeah.
So you've done, how long have you been composing for?
Oh, it's almost 20 years now.
Yeah. And are there any standout projects that you still look back on fondly?
I think my first Crazy Eights is the one that always comes up. I did Extraordinary Amy, and that's actually was Topher's first directing.
Really? I didn't know Topher did a Crazy Eight.
Yeah, he did.
I mean, he's never mentioned it. Wow.
Yeah, he did Extraordinary Amy, and it was Zlatina and what was the guy, the producer's name? Chris. I forget his last name. Anyways, it was a fantastic experience in that not only did I get, shown, like my work shown in front of 2,000 people or what have you at the Ford Center or whatever it's called now. But it was one of those things where, I got to really expand on this almost Danny Elfman-esque kind of orchestral score, which is kind of cool. And I think, like, I have to, give props to the Crazy Eights, because that was one of up until then, like, yeah, I had been getting gigs and stuff like that, but that was sort of the tipping point. And that's the one I look fondly on, is that film.
Is it available online somewhere?
Pretty sure it is.
And what was it called again?
Extraordinary Amy.
All right. Well, I will Google that and see if I can dig up a link. And if it is available, there will be a link in the notes.
Yeah. Slap Topher on the head, side of the head.
I mean, yeah, I'll probably be seeing it next weekend.
Yeah. That's the one that definitely stands out. But there's probably other ones that I'm not remembering yet. But yeah.
So now, what is sound design? I guess people are like, we've covered composing. Yeah. Sound design, we said, is like more technical, but like, some of the people watching probably don't know anything about film. So, but like, yeah, can you tell me a bit about sound design?
Well, sound design, if you've ever gotten a film or seen a film that's just gotten locked, it comes out of editor's suite. Let's back up. On production, when you're capturing sound on production, the key thing that they're trying to get or anything else is the dialogue. Just the dialogue. And if you've ever watched a set where they have like an action sequence or, stuff is going on in the background, nobody's talking, they're trying to be as quiet as possible. They just want to capture the dialogue. So when you get that sound from the editor, it's just dialogue and it's boring. There's no background noise, all this like putting things down back onto the table, the footsteps.
The clink of armor.
Everything. Gone. Nothing's there. So sound design is really going back through and trying to figure out what does this scene, what's this world supposed to sound like? So first thing, besides cleaning up the dialogue when I get something from the editor, my first step is to try to figure out environment. Like what does the room sound like? Or if they're outside, what's going on? Do they hear traffic over here? Do they hear birds chirping? Is it raining? All that kind of stuff. You're just trying to design the macro world. And I keep like doing the reverse of peeling the onion. I go back down to the specifics. So putting in the feet, putting in the clothes rustling, putting in anything that the actor touches, all that kind of stuff. You're just trying to match up all those sounds that are absent from the soundtrack and putting them back in. The fun part of sound design comes in when you are designing things that aren't real.
Magic spells.
Exactly. Monsters, spaceships, guns that don't exist, that kind of stuff. Like that when people ask me what my favorite genres are, it's like science fiction, horror. That's the stuff where you get to play in the sandbox and just start experimenting, doing all these mad science experiments of like, what could that sound like? And just putting those extra LFE, the low frequency things that just get the subwoofer going and the windows rattling and all that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Do you have any tips for someone who may be putting together some magic scrying spells in their next short film?
Layers, putting lots of layers. When I first started into sound design, I was like, you'd put a stereo background check, ambience in there, and you put, if a gun was going off, you'd put one gunshot in there. But if you put layers, like choose, what I like to do is go through if I'm either recording stuff or I'm going through libraries to find different sounds. So I like that one, I like that one, I like that one, I like that one. You line them up on the tracks and you start auditioning them. And then sometimes it's like, okay, if I put these two together, okay, what if I add a third one in there? It's just, there's a lot of depth that goes into things. So for instance, with the background track, you might be in the kitchen or in the living room. Yes, you've got that hiss that's supposed to be present that sort of, carries over the room.
Right. Hold on. Notepad. Hiss.
You've got, possibly neighbors that are next door kind of thing. You've got birds that are chirping outside, cars that are passing by, those kinds of added realism. The audience member might not notice that stuff, but it definitely does add to the world building in the film. Yeah.
All right. So I can only offer one thing I know about, which my friend, and I was telling you that I bought a bunch of audio plugins for the podcast. And I got a real-time analyzer EQ, and my friend was showing me for one of my last short films that a lot of the stuff that's not dialogue, you learn to lower the volume of just a very set frequencies that are the human voice-ish. And that way you can have the music not get super quiet without still interfering with the voice.
Yeah. Yeah. And also getting a stereo widener too on the music. There's a plugin probably in your Waves package called Center, and it's there's other plugins that do this, but it basically analyzes the stereo spectrum of a stereo file, and carves out the center aspect, and basically pushes all of the information off to the side, so the dialogue comes up the middle. Music, everything else is pushed to the side. So that's another tool, similar to not having to lower everything all the time.
Okay, I'm totally going to go need to buy that. Yeah, that's super informative. Now, I don't know what else to ask about with can you tell us more composing? How long does it take you to compose? I guess that's actually one, because I know when people ask me hey, can you edit and color and do VFX for my short film? And it's bro, it's a 15-minute short film and I'm not I have a day job. When someone says, hey, Dave, I have a 10-minute short film. Right. Can you compose for it? What are they really asking you?
I've got to the point where, I've been able to, I can kind of estimate what it'll do. If it's a 10-minute short film, I could probably get the composing done in 2 or 3 days. And the fact that I've gotten to the point where, I know how to go through it. You got a process down. You go through it. You spot the film. Once you figure out, get over the hump of this is the sound, this is where the music's supposed to go for it. You can basically compose 3 to 4 minutes of music a day. And for a 10-minute short film, I say generously, it's about half of the film is going to have music in it. So it's 5 minutes of music. So it's going to take me a couple of days to do. And if the director's on the ball, you send it back to them for a review. They'll give you some feedback. You tweak it. Bob's your uncle. You got like 3 days done kind of thing. But
that's really interesting. So I guess that's one. It's like a film doesn't always have music under it.
Right.
Can you explain that a little bit? Because like I know a bit some stuff, but I bet you can make it sound a lot more intelligent.
Yeah. Music. I think I've surprised a lot of directors in the fact that when they ask for me to put in music, I shy away from the music, like especially if the film has, great cast, it's been shot well, the actors are selling the scene, the emotions coming across, that kind of stuff. To me, music is really there to guide the audience into how they're supposed to feel, how they're supposed to emote with the actors. It can either be, obvious with, the actors to sort of emphasize that and sort of get the tears rolling or the excitement going, that kind of stuff. Or it's to misdirect the audience. You can have something going on in the scene and something different you want the audience to feel. So it's just one of those, if either of those things aren't evident, or the action or the acting is working, you don't really need music. It's like the audience will get it. If you put music on top of it, I feel that the audience is going to feel that, okay, you guys are really trying to put oil, like you're going over the top here, guys. Come on.
I remember I was watching like a behind the scenes of Volcano, the movie from like the 90s. Right. And it was great because they showed that, where they actually showed clips where they're like, and we had this great composer and she did this music for this woman crawling through the scene with all stuff falling apart. And they're like, but the problem is it's so tense that it's more important to hear like the little rocks and pebbles falling because you're like worried the roof's going to fall down at any point.
Yeah.
And the music was great. He's like, but also it's like kind of distracting from like just the abject horror of the situation where like the world is about to fall on this woman.
Well, it's funny. It's about a year ago, VIF brought in Mike Mancini, who's the sound designer for Blade Runner and a whole bunch of like Mad Max series, those kinds of guys. And he was going through one of the films in the last Blade Runner film, where he was saying that he argued with the director that they do not need music. And it was the scene where they, I think it was a casino or so, an abandoned casino or something like that. And I think it was Ryan and Harrison Ford were sparring off or something like that. And he argued that, no, you need to have like, this is sort of like a derelict casino, and like some of the technology is working and half working and stuff like that. And it was just those things popping up all over the place. The sound design of the environment,
a lot of technology going haywire.
Yeah, and then the quiet, and then everything going haywire, the quiet, that kind of stuff. If you had music in that was sort of like, I think that would sort of take away. And he was correct in that. And it would have taken away from the sort of the tenseness of that scene, of like just that deathly quiet, and then all of a sudden this cacophony coming on kind of stuff.
This is fantastic. I'm going to be working on my short film as soon as you're out of here. So I'll be like, all right, there's got to be music here. There's not going to be music here. And like, yeah, no, that's really cool.
Yeah.
Damn, oh man, I didn't even think of that.
Yeah.
Like, this is why I'm not a sound guy.
No, it's a fun exercise going through a film and trying to figure out what sound needs to come through, what it needs to support the story, when it just should stay out of the way.
So have you done Foley?
Yes.
Is it ridiculous to watch?
It's fun. I kind of enjoy it in the fact that I like being able to watch something on the film, and I go through this whole gymnastics in my mind of, will it take me longer to go and find something and record it, or search through a library to find that sound and put it in? So it's one of those things. Okay, I don't have X that they have on screen. What do I have that sounds like that or can be convincing enough that I could record and put on there?
So if I have to do Foley for, say, a fantasy short film with a guy wearing chainmail, the fact that I have his entire chainmail outfit in the next room means it's probably easier for me to just dress up and like...
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly.
I should really think about that.
You should. Yeah. Or it's just like, you don't need that whole chain. You just need something that's going to,
like the little piece of chainmail,
or a box of screws or nuts and stuff like that. You just sort of jiggle it along, kind of thing.
Oh yeah, that's a really good idea.
Yeah,
yeah. So I guess this may be heresy, but like, are there any sound or music libraries online that you think are not terrible?
The one that I use a lot is Soundly. It's a subscription model, and they have access to a whole bunch of other different libraries. And it's you pay a fee every year, and they have everything from mono up to 7.1 files and stuff like that, it's just phenomenal. I've sworn by that. It's been pretty cool. Yeah.
And then the other one is like say like one thing like my friend did. I was a DOP on my friend's mockumentary about cults, and it's very silly, but he managed to, like, because he knows them, he's friends with bands, and he got like some great songs from bands. Is there like any insight in like how someone who doesn't have lots of cool band friends, like or even how you would get some like older songs, the licensing or rights, do you have any understanding of that stuff?
Oh my, that is a rat's nest. You do not want to go down that path. Like I have a couple of friends, Kylo Donovan. She's a fantastic local music supervisor, and just being able to navigate, because there's no clearinghouse for music rights and music licensing, that kind of stuff, because there's so many there could be so many interested parties who have ownership stake in a recording or an artist's song or something like that. You don't know who, to navigate that on your own. Where do you start? I tried that once and I never want to do it again. It's you start at the record company. It's like, okay, can I license this? And sometimes you'll get lucky. They'll say, okay, yeah, we know Joe X and stuff. We'll get them on board and blah, blah, blah. And there's other ones that it's like, I don't know.
Well, I've seen that just because, like, sometimes I edit stuff that's not for public consumption, and I'll put them up on YouTube, and it'll be like, this cannot, like, it's like, you don't have the rights for this, and it's totally fine except for these 3 countries where you're not even allowed to view it.
Yeah.
And it's like, so I guess it's almost like film, where like certain songs you can't just, it's not just getting the rights for it, you need the rights for like North America, you need the rights for Europe, and you need the rights for that.
Yeah, especially if there's a record company associated with the artist. There's going to be different rules based on which location they are. And it's never going to be, if I want a song from a indie artist in my film, it's going to cost this much. You don't know. It could be like they could love your project and say, hey, go for it. Or they could say, no, I want $1,000, but you can only show it in festivals, B-level festivals in North America. And if you go across here, it's going to cost this much. They could get really super complicated. So it's a difficult thing. If you want to license music and you don't want the stuff from the royalty-free sites, I'd say get a music supervisor. It's going to save you a lot of time, a lot of money.
Or just find a composer.
Yes. I was into that. Yeah.
So I guess my other question is, like, how did this journey start for you?
Oh my gosh. Do we have enough memory?
Yes, we do. I'm totally down with longer interviews. Some of our interviews have been under 30 minutes, so I kind of want to, but like, yeah, like I know for me, my background is like, I was a computer science major and I needed an elective, and my buddy's like, dude, there's a filmmaking elective. And it's like, dude, this is called film history. He's like, yeah, but in second semester it's filmmaking. And then we like went in, and dude was like right out of Good Will Hunting or something, or Dead Poets, where he's like, just make anything, you get an A if it's complete. And that's where I like started
by the bug there.
Yeah, and it was like fun. But like, did you, like, I didn't, it came out of left field for me. But like, what about you? What was your beginnings?
It was very, very circuitous route to get here. I wanted to be when I was in high school. I moved from way back, like grade 9 and 10. I was in London, Ontario, and I had this fantastic music teacher. It was like he had a program. He would go to the Kiwanis festivals, and we would always get gold medals, blah, blah, blah. We moved. I grew up in Ottawa, and we moved back to Ottawa. The music teacher that I had there was one of these guys. He was at the end of his career, just totally checked out. And he would like sit up at the front, walk into the classroom, and like, shut up, let's go. And I was like, I could do better than him. So I wanted to be a music teacher. So I went into, I played piano, and my grades weren't that great through high school, and music program sounded perfect. So at that time, I was either going to be a teacher or a performer. That's the only thing I knew. Guidance counselors were no help. They didn't know what somebody in the arts did. So I got a degree in music, and I got to about the fourth year. And in that time in Ontario, they were doing like massive cutbacks in education, and it looked dire for going out and being a music teacher. So my minor when I was at school was business. So I
feel like I should have done that. like I feel like a little business savvy. I would probably not. Yeah,
I know. It was one of those things. It's just like, okay, well, what do I do now? I don't want to go and be a substitute teacher for 10 years and stuff. So it's going to be
in the trenches.
Yeah. So I decided to take my GMATs, and I got into McMaster, and that's where I met my wife. And from there, went off into computer systems consulting for about 10, 12 years.
Oh, you're a computer guy too.
Yeah. I know enough to be dangerous. I'm not going to be I can't go in and do something from scratch. But if you give me some code, I can figure out how to break it.
What languages do you know, or like what have you experienced? And I know they changed so much.
Well, most of the stuff I was doing was more package systems, like the old PeopleSoft, Oracle stuff that was back then. So it was more implementing the modules. I was specialized in inventory and engineering modules and stuff like that. So supply chain, that kind of stuff. So through our travels, we had eventually ended up in Seattle, and while down there, I saw this posting for the Experience Music Project, which is Paul Allen's rock and roll museum that he opened up in 2000. And so, being Paul Allen, he was infused with technology and stuff. And I said, hey, can I work here? And I got a job as a senior project manager there. And eventually got to be in the executive management, and that being the director of projects. So I was taking care of construction projects, exhibits, new technology, infrastructure, all that kind of stuff.
Holy cow, that's like
it was
big.
It was. The biggest one was when they started opening the science fiction museum. So it was, you were getting into 7, 8 figures projects kind of stuff. So yeah, it was big. Wow. A lot on the line and stuff. So yeah, we had construction, we had Imagineers from Disney that were in there helping design, all the technology that was going in and stuff like that. So while there, I got to meet a hell of a lot of people who were in different fields of music, arts, film, what have you. And it was one of those things where it's like, oh, there's more than just composing, or not just more than just performing and teaching. You can do all this kind of stuff. And that's where I started getting the bug of, what could I do to get me back into music? And I started taking some courses, some audio engineering courses at UW, and then it registered in this Pacific Northwest film scoring program, which was run by actually a Canadian composer who's living down there, Hami Mann. And he composed a lot of the Mel Brooks stuff, like Robin Hood Men in Tights and Dead and Loving It and that kind of stuff. So he had this 2-year program of film composing and taught you all about not only how to compose, like the technical aspects of scoring to picture and dropping beats and getting to, being able to fit the music to picture, but the technical aspect of it, the contemporary music theory that's around that kind of stuff. So it opened my eyes, and I ran into some health problems, and it was one of those things where my wife and I had a discussion, and she said, bless her heart, supported me in this whole thing and said, we'll be okay. You go off and try to do this. I'll take care of the getting the real money in. And that's sort of where I made that choice to jump into film composing. And from there, it was somebody like years down the road was like, you do sound design. I was like, how hard can that be? And do you do ADR? Do you do Foley? Do you do like, so that's where it started branching out from just doing film composing. I'm a film composer to I'm a film composer and I'm a sound designer. And, it's just putting on those different hats. It just kept on expanding from there. So.
But if you're listening, Dave really wants to compose.
I love it. It is my love. It's where my roots are. And yeah, I enjoy the sound design. I love the mixing and all that, the work that comes with it, and the gratification and stuff like that. But yeah, it's one of those things where, yeah, I'd like to. I'm at a point right now where if I had to choose, and I'm kind of in that point. Yeah, I'll choose more of the composing side of things.
I mean, I get it. It's definitely like an artistic, creative. Yeah. It's like I can edit. I'm happy to help my friends edit or like do other post-production stuff or like things. But like, man, like shooting, being on set, like shooting or DP or direct, like all that stuff where you're like in the process of creating is like, yeah, man, that's what I would pick any day of the week.
Yeah. Yeah. Me, it's like, I loved when I did have that gig with the recording on set, the sound guy on set. It was fun. It was great. But it was like, I got out of that and I was like, the old man, oh my God, I'm too old for this shit. Can we swear on this?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Otherwise, I wouldn't be able to host this.
I just came out of that. It was just like, oh, I'm good in my cave. I'm good behind like all my monitors and stuff, and I'll just stay there.
I love crafty, man. It's like it's like there's no crafty in the editing.
Yeah, I turned my kids onto the Welch's
fruit snacks.
Fruit snacks. Oh
yeah.
My God. Yeah. Yeah. I love those things.
Cool. So if people want to hire you for composing, where do they find you?
DaveChick.ca. That's
nice.
Yeah.
Well, we'll put a link in the comments and the notes and the whatevers. And I guess, I don't know. Is there anything else? Is there anything else we need to cover?
Oh, geez. We could probably talk. Like being amongst all this technology in this room, oh my God, we could probably talk for hours. But
I guess I can get your thoughts on my hilarious microphones because I was telling you because I know you came in, you're like, oh, is this a Shure MB? Whoa, this ain't a Shure. So these like look like Shure SMB7s, which are like $800 mics.
Yeah.
And now I want a real sound person to come on and actually say they're not that good for podcasting. Those mics.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. I was telling Rob was those mics. You see them on everywhere on YouTube and stuff like that. And they sound good if you are like 3 inches from them and you stay like 3 to 6 inches. But some of those podcasters that are like, they're way back here. These are the real ones. Can we get like geek?
Yeah.
Stuff? Okay.
Yeah, go ahead. I'll like learn from this later.
The real, dynamic Shure mics like the SM7Bs and the SM58s, the SM57s. Those are the ones, the ones you see on stage, the little silver ball ones, and the ones that are up against guitar cabinets and stuff. Those are the Shure SM57s, 58s. They're dynamic. They're called dynamic microphones, and they're essentially like brute force. They're called dynamic coil microphones. So they're basically, if you know physics, and you have two magnets, one magnet that's in the middle of another one. One of them has a diaphragm on the top of it, and as sound waves hit it, it's basically moving the magnet and creating an electrical signal that goes down the wire. And those, you're basically physically having to move a magnet within a magnet to get that electrical signal through. So to get it to do that, you have to be really close.
And usually quite loud.
And quite loud.
One thing my friend was saying is like those ones they're vocalist mics, and most singing is not quiet.
Yeah, and they're like, you see the people using them in concerts. They're right here. Right up.
They're like, hey God, except they're like super loud too. Like to get these to work, I had to buy like discount cloud lifters, which basically give it like an extra 10 dB of gain without noise.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's the thing. The 7Bs and a lot of the dynamic microphones, they do need the cloud lifters to to give them that extra bit, because otherwise you're pegging the gain on your inputs to just to get it to line level. So
yeah, and these it's funny because the SMB7 is like an $800 mic, and like it's worth it, whatever.
Yeah.
But these are a 3D printed housing, and then like a $35 carry.
I was like, oh my god, are you kidding me?
Yeah, no, we'll
I can see, because the SM7B usually has the mic, the cable receptacle right beside it. So it's
I've been looking on like Amazon to see if I could buy like an XLR that would fake that and like print the yoke just to make it look even more like an SMB7. But like we can take one of these apart after. I'll show you. Like, it's literally just like the karaoke. You pop the top off the karaoke mic, slide it in. There's like a little bolt on the bottom here that like makes it static, and that's it. And then I'm like, the thing is, the guy, I think his name is he does a channel called DSLR Video Shooter.
Okay.
It was like printing the housing is maybe $1 of printing materials. The screws are $2 or $3, and then the mic's $30. So all said and done, each of these mics is like less than $50.
Yeah.
Like the foam covering that's from the official Shure SMB7 is like $15, and that's one of the more expensive parts.
Oh my god, that's hilarious! Oh my god.
Yeah, so I have like 6 of these. I have like
6 of these.
Yes. I got really jazzed up. Well, so and you may get pulled into this, but like one day I have a couple friends who are really technical about being good dungeon masters for like the maximum amount of fun for players, and like they read like blog posts and forums like way more than I'm just like, let's have a good time and drink some beer. But I want to do some podcasts where I interview them on how to be a better DM. So I learn, but then I basically take their advice and run it on victims. But then you need like 6 mics, right? Because like you need a whole table full.
Yeah.
But so yeah, I kind of went wild over the summer because also the mic I was buying, the price fluctuated. It would jump for $70. Oh. And so I got scared, and when it went back down to 30, I bought like 4.
Oh my god! Oh my god! Well, I actually brought some fun stuff.
Oh, let's see.
Yeah.
What do we? Oh, we got stuff.
I've got stuff. I threatened Rob that I bring mics over.
Oh, I love. Let's do some mic talk.
This is my fun little toy that I bought a little bit before. It's called a which camera should I show this?
Here, hold on. I might actually be able to. All right, let me just check this. Okay, good. I've saved the location, so now I'm going to zoom in on it, and I'll hide the peanuts. They don't need to know we're eating.
Let's take the little fuzzy bit off.
All right,
that's where it looks fun.
All right, there you go. We got it there.
This is an ambisonic mic, which is essentially used in VR recording. It basically records in a 360 sphere around.
Right. I think I saw you do like a post about how you were playing with that.
And you record it in ambisonic, and you can convert it to binaural, which is essentially a stereo version that sort of screws with the sound waves to make it sound like if you were wearing headphones, that it sound behind you, in front of you, on top of you, that kind of stuff. Or you can translate it into a 5.1 or a 7.1 kind of thing. So it's 4 mics. There's Rode makes a stupid expensive version of this. It's like 4 figures. I think it's $1,500 or something like that. That kind of stuff. This is a Zoom H3 VR, they call it. And I'm
going to rotate it for the camera.
$300 or $400 or something like that.
Zoom makes a lot of fun products.
They do. Yeah. Yeah. People can slag them if they want to, but it's like they make some decent.
I mean, how many filmmakers have started with a Zoom H4n?
Oh my God, yeah, I've got one of those for years.
I had several. They died,
but it's a fun little thing to just go around, and you just sit. Like, I bring the files into my studio, translate them to 5.1. I've recorded so many different things, mostly ambiences, room tone, outside kind of stuff. And it's just one of those cool things. So if you're a VR filmmaker and stuff like that, you just plop this on top of your camera, and it'll record the 360 sphere around it, and you're good to go. Yeah,
that's awesome.
Yeah, you pop it into one of those Oculus
Quests,
decoders, those kinds of stuff, and yeah. No, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, my friend actually did a VR movie, like short film, and it did really well because there's like zero competition. Like nobody, it's so hard to, like, even he was like, I remember like got a text from him late at night. He's like, why the hell did I do this? This is so stupid. I've just spent 8 hours like hiding a light stand and I didn't hide good enough in one shot. So I had to cut it because it's supposed to be a horror. And there's no, there's some big like dude hiding in the corner.
Oh my God. Yeah. Yeah. No, this is one of my fun things I bring along. If I going on a trip or something like that I don't have to go through borders or anything, I'll bring this along.
Looks like spy equipment.
Yeah, it's cool. And one of the other toys. Oh, it's right here. I've always wanted to get, because I've always hated to bring around like the Zoom H4n or any sort of thing. It's so bulky. You can bring it around. So I wanted to something you could just sort of plug into an iPhone. And this actually looks, if you take off the top, looks like a mini SM7B. Get that out of the way.
Let's zoom in on that with your close up.
Yeah. And you can just basically, it's a stereo microphone, uses a mid-side technique, which is probably one of the more, it's probably the most versatile and friendly, mono-capable friendly versions of stereo miking. It basically has a cardioid mic up here on the top, and then it's got a figure 8 pattern mic behind it.
I want to just point to those again.
So you got cardioid up here in the figure 8, left, right, and basically what a figure 8 is, basically it captures things on either side, rejects from the side.
Right. So if we were to turn it like this, it would kind of be ideal for like...
Yeah, you could use it for a podcast.
Oh.
Just put it right in between us, and yeah, just one mic, and that's all you need. But yeah, it uses... I forget the scientists that sort of figured this all out. It's basically using the concept of constructive and destructive interference in sound waves. And so if you combine the cardioid up here and the positive side of this side of the mic, and you combine them together, you can hear everything from this side of the mic. You flip the phase on another track for the figure 8, and you capture this and this, you get everything on this side of the mic, and you can basically ride these. You have a center for the cardioid, and you have the two for the different phase configurations of the other mic. And you have 3 faders, and you can basically play with the difference of the 3 faders and either have a very wide stereo pattern or a very narrow stereo pattern, or collapse it down to mono, and it's all phase coherent. So it's one of those really kind of cool, versatile mics.
That's really...
And you can just plug it into your iPhone and record. So it's one of those things. I've got a belt clip kind of thing, and you can just sort of carry it around with you. And if you have the urge to record something, like everybody does.
I'm actually a giant fan. Oh, hold on. Let me fix my close up. I'll cut this part out. Rob, cut. I can do text recognition to cut that part out. I wish I'd been ready for this. I could have had mics I could have pulled out. All right, here we go. We won't show my stuff because I would need to go dig it out, and I don't want to waste your time. But I actually have some neat ones too. I have the Zoom H1. Oh, and I just knocked the thing. Let me see. That's good. I think we'll have to start Vanna Whiting it though and holding it up next to us. So
magically,
you want to hold it up to your left side, and I'll hold it up to this side.
Okay.
But all right, so we've done it. I've just like rooted through all my stuff, but yeah. So what I have, and I love this is one of my early purchases. It's a Zoom H1, and it is basically just got 2 little mics. And I actually used to use this when my original Between Two Pints, when I didn't have any money.
Yeah.
I would just put this on the table, and the audio was terrible. But it was like, it wasn't bad, but like now with like these and a proper mixer and but the thing that I love about this that has saved my bacon many times is I've done like events and stuff. And sometimes there's weird interference, or like a wedding where they're like, oh, you just do the camera, and like, oh, you can capture sound too, right? And it's like, no, you didn't tell me. So they bring this because it was like $80.
Yeah.
And it has a stereo in.
Yeah.
So I would like run to the back of the room, kiss the DJ's ass and be like, can you just give me like plug in and out here? And like you get 18 hours of recording on like a micro SD card, and it runs on 1 AA.
Yeah.
And I think I was vacationing and I went to Tasmania for 3 months, and we had a short film. So we plugged a little boom mic into this and did a short film, and it worked. Like it was
like, what kind of inputs does it have?
It just has a 3.5. Yeah.
Okay.
Like it's not amazing, but it was like for like, hey, we're drunk and we want to film a short film this weekend and we're going to be drunk while we film it. Like,
yeah, right. Yeah.
And then, so this is like old piece, and I just keep this as a backup if I'm ever in an event where I can like I recorded my friend's musical theater show last year, and they promised me they were going to give me the audio files, and they did in the end, but like, I was like, I don't trust you guys. So I plugged this into the soundboard and had a decent out of it. Like,
okay.
You know, so I always like to have a backup plan. So,
yeah.
And then the other thing that this is the new one, and this is like, even the corporate guy I work for kind of can't believe how amazing this is. These are the Rode Go 2s.
Oh, I've seen ads for those. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So the thing is, I had the Rode Go 1, and it's great and all, but these are, you get one receiver. It's all like 3.5 mil. So it's not, XLR Pro, but this I'll plug into my camera or something. And then it has 2 transmitters, and the deal breaker for these are the transmitters record 8 hours onto them, and you can set it up to like record different ways, but and more like lower quality, but I basically max quality local on that, because if you lose connection, which happens with wireless, you just pull it off there, and it never
redundancy. I like it.
And it's like, it's like straight from and like the newest one I really want does it in like 32-bit float, which is like, it will never peak.
Nice. Yeah.
But yeah, I love this because this has saved my bacon sometimes, and they're tiny.
These are the mics.
Yeah, these are. And then the other one I have, and I can actually give you this box because I can print them. My 3D printer, I printed boxes. And so in this, I have everything I need to make this work.
Oh, look at that.
So, because these also work as USB mics. Like if you get a USB-C cable, you can plug it in. I'm not giving you the stuff inside. I give you the box. But it's like, 3.5 mils. So that's plugging my camera into this.
Yeah.
I got 2 Sony Labs in here. I got a little crappy pair of earphones. I got an adapter for a 1/4 inch. And then I have in a bag over there, I can do things like adapt to XLR and stuff. Yeah. But this is my favorite thing, is I print these now to store all my dumb gear. And if you want this, you can have it, because I know as a sound guy, you probably...
Oh, I've got like stuff to...
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is so cool. This is like a little Omni mic.
Yeah. And it's not fantastic, but like, even I was filming my friend Mike.
It's like right here. It's fine. Yeah.
Yeah. And you'll see it too on a lot of new YouTubers who are like, there's this new authenticity wave in YouTube where it's like really minimalistic. And a lot of them, they're smart. Their only concession to quality they're really making, besides like recording with their phone, is that they'll use something like this. Like you see, there's this guy, Sam Suleiman or something, where he's this like super jacked weightlifter, but he's all like, all this stuff's like super wholesome. He's like, oh, this is me with my like protein shake in the morning, and I'm like and he's driving to the gym, and he's got his phone recording him, and he's like, yeah, I'm gonna do legs today, and then he's like at the gym, but he's got that pinned to his baseball cap. Oh, and it sounds great. Like as I've watched, like, if you want to make good video, just make sure the sound's good. The video is actually not as important as you think.
Exactly. Yes. I totally agree. Yeah, that's funny. That's one of my pet peeves the last couple of years, is watching people on YouTube holding the lav mic up to their face. Like, it's called lav mic.
Yeah.
You're supposed to put it here.
Yeah.
Here. It's like, and don't touch it.
Yeah. And then breathing into it and the touching. Yeah.
Oh my God. Anyways.
Well, okay, I'm sure that got like super nerdy, and we lost like 90% of our people watching. So, but yes, no, I'm not a sound guy by any means, but also I can't afford a sound guy most of the time on my things. So like, and I like, even with this one was a lot of fun. I was shooting my friend doing instruction for like actors acting training, like throwing fake punches. Yeah. And so what I would do is I had the receiver on my camera, and then I was alternating between the transmitter just clipping to his shirt when he was instructing, or then I would be filming the people rehearsing the stuff, and I would just clip that part to the front of my camera because it has a mic. So you'd hear them grunting and faking the punches. Okay. And it worked pretty well. Like it wasn't, it didn't work as well as actually having like a boom mic or like laving all these people, but it would work better than having a little crappy shotgun on top of my camera.
Totally. Oh my God. That's That's hilarious. I love this nerd stuff.
Yeah.
God.
Because sound is so goddamn hard.
Yeah, and I love the directors that actually appreciate that too. And most do. But once they've been burned a couple times in post, they figure out.
There's I can't remember his name, and I'm probably going to get ridiculed for this, but the director of Shazam, who also did some horror stuff. He did like Dead Silence or something. Like he does short films with his wife in their apartment over the pandemic. But he did a really good video, which I will put a link to in the bottom. But he showed an example of like, here's a clip from Shazam where the audio is like terrible quality. Like he just cranked it all the way to crap. But the video is like 4K quality. Here's the same clip where the video is like 240 by 320, but the audio is like perfect. And it's like, what would you rather watch?
Right. Yeah. There's nothing that pulls you out of a film quicker, and I hear it a lot, than crap audio. It's like any like clip, mic rub, whatever. It's like, it just screws it up for you. Like you're gone. Your sense of disbelief is gone.
Well, especially now too, where like people are watching stuff on buses with their like earphones on, and like, you know, on your phone, and then you have these like really nice earphones that are giving you like the like, you know, really good stereo sound, and then your phone is like a tiny screen, and it really doesn't need to be like even HD on that.
Dennis Villeneuve would not like this, but
yeah,
who cares?
Still getting watched. All right. Well, I think we've come to the end of our time here, but let's just like, so like Dave, you are, I know you're a composer as well as the audio stuff, but the composing is like also hard. Like music is like, even you do like, oh, it only takes me like 3 days to dude, it would take me a year.
That I think that's a testament to everybody on a freaking film crew and the cast as well. Everybody makes it look easy. It's just because they're all specialized and they're so good at what they do. Everybody is amazing on film crews. You get over it.
Especially Alex Shamku.
Go.
That's like a joke only a very small group of people in Vancouver are going to get. I'll make sure to send him a link to this. But yeah, like again, where can people find you if they want to like talk to you about composing?
DaveChick.ca, and I'm on Facebook, Instagram.
What's your Instagram? I mean, that's what all the kids are on.
Oh my God. Chickanator, CHCKN 8R. I got that nickname from Experience Music Project. One of the person who managed the web team just started calling me Chickanator, and so I stuck with it.
I think that's probably going to be the title of this video. Chickanator talks about sound.
Perfect.
All right. Well, thanks, Dave. Cheers. It was good. And thanks for bringing the great beer.
Oh, more than welcome.
And we are out.